This is another live radio link-up brought to you by the Government Communications GCIS.
It's a good evening to you and welcome to this special broadcast that is brought to you by Government Communication and Information System as well as Department of Justice and Constitutional Development. Naki Musoto Stone, and this is your weekly Let's Talk Justice where we live your rights and also open each other's minds in terms of the challenges that we face that have a legal connotation. And tonight, we are talking about Family Advocate Office, the Office of the Family Advocate. And without any further ado, let me just introduce my guest. She's a regular. She's somebody who speaks to you normally and regularly, actually. Josephine, welcome.
Thank you so much.
Thank you so very much. And you can raise your issues on 0800 142 446. 0800 142 446, and on the other side we will be having Abuti Karabo Lance as well as Osnoni Ndawonde, who will be actually taking your calls tonight. And let's do this. Let's talk to Os Josephine. Let's hear about the office and let's connect the office to the issues. You might be in Guangua, you might be in Lingenye, you might be in Harip, you might be in... Where do you come from, Josephine?
I come from Limpopo, but I'm based in Roodepoort.
Limpopo is a big one.
Polokwane Seshego.
Polokwane ko Seshego. O ka etsa o tswa ko le Polokwane Seshego. O ka etsa o le from Toba. You might be from Eastern Cape somewhere, in Mthatha, in all those places. Let's talk about the role that the Family Advocate Office can play for you. And let's not just only look at how people can help us. You know, sometimes the narrative that we have, as Josephine, is that of people desperate for help. And when sometimes help is within us.
True that.
Now, let's connect the Family Advocate Office to the normal lives of the people in terms of how do we define it to ourselves?
You know, for me to be able to answer that particular question thoroughly is that I need to start from the history or the origin of the Office of the Family Advocate. Mm-hmm. It was basically created because, divorces were skyrocketing and the children were falling through the cracks. Because normally during divorce, people will start fighting about their cars, their houses and everything, and they'll forget about the children. And these children are basically the vulnerable victims within this fight and conflict and everything. Then, the legislature saw it fit to say, let's go and do an investigation and establish this office that will particularly look at the best interest of the children. And the office was actually established in 1990 with a very limited mandate. Its main aim was basically to look at children who were impacted or affected by divorce. And then it meant that it was only, meant to cater for only children whose parents were married in terms of the Marriages Act of 1961, to the exclusion of all the other children, regardless of the situation that they were finding themselves in. However, subsequent to the promulgation of the Children's Act in 2005, which then came into effect, early or late 2010, the mandate was actually, exponentially extended to an extent that now we are actually catering for all children who are affected by parental conflict, parental separation, and divorce. And the reason why I'm mentioning all these things is that we are living in different times now. Times have changed. We're living in times when marriage is no longer the norm. It's
overrated
very sad.
Love is overrated.
Yes, and we're living in times when divorce is skyrocketing. We're living in times when 65% of children of South Africa are raised by single parents. And that for me is actually very sad because I'm asking myself, where are we going as a society? When I trace this back and I say, I was raised by both parents. Yes, it was tough for them, but I was raised by a security guard and, a mother who was educated and who was well advanced. But what they both gave me was that they actually gave me a childhood that I'll never forget. I remember the very same father who was ridiculed within the society would say to me that, my child, you're the most beautiful duck dindi that I've ever met. And as a result, today I'm this, like confident person because of that. So the office basically helps parents to actually come to a common ground about issues concerning their children, the needs of the children, the developmental stages of the children, the stages of the children, to say, you know what, put everything at the back and concentrate on what is best for your child. We know that you are no longer romantic partners. You are now parenting partners. You must parent. Exactly. You must parent. People need to understand that. And I like your opening remarks where you said sometimes we're looking for help outside, whereas help is within us. People need to arrive at a point where they understand that relationship can end. We meet because of matters of the heart. And one day I can just wake up and feel that I don't want this person anymore. But when there are children involved, you just have to be cordial with each other. You get stuck. Be cordial with each other. And when I'm linking the office to the issues of the people, our role is, number one, the following: we monitor all legal documents concerning the children. Yes. Once you issue a summons, once you issue any court process, we have to monitor it to check whether it complies with the best interest standard. Number two, should then that not be the case, then we are tasked to actually mediate between the parents. To say, parents, come here, sit together, converse about the needs of your child, and come up with a plan that will help in terms of seeing this particular child from this stage of infancy to the stage of adulthood. Yes. And should that fail, we don't stop there. Then we launch an investigation. And you know what saddens me? You find people who are actually parents of a child starting to dig negative stuff about each other. Yes. People compiling dossiers of how they're going to paint you, that you are this dog, you are this snake, or you are this whatever. And the sad part is that we even bring children into that space. We tell children how much of a dog your father is. And yet we're forgetting that our children can comprehend these things. They can pick up these energies and everything. And the child will start asking themselves, oh, which means I am half a dog and half a fool. Because my mom, who claims to be so clever, went and slept with a dog, and I am the result. Then they start shaking, because now that they are thinking, my identity is now fractured. I don't know who I am. And once children start picking up that they don't know who they are, they'll go out there and they'll go and seek that love, affection, and protection elsewhere. And the world out there, it's very dangerous. Extremely dangerous.
You actually... It's like you're aggravating the whole thing. It's like you aggravate, but it's reality anyway.
It's reality.
It's reality of what we're living in.
I'm thinking especially those that even have money to actually even go to the courts. When people start making allegations against each other, I'm asking myself, just imagine Butum Soto, when your child one day becomes a lawyer. And they come up to read a law report which is written about you, and their mother, how you were painting each other dirty, and how you were speaking down on each other, and how much information you gathered against each other, and all that. What are you saying? And that's why to this day we have programs where 65-year-old people are looking for their families.
If you've just joined us, we're talking about the Office of the Family Advocate, and what you have just heard now, an interpretation from my side, is that imagine sitting there thinking, umama mumtagati and ubaba minja, and what am I?
Exactly. And once a child starts asking those questions, remember that, as old as you are, we all long for sense of belonging. We all want to belong. I can imagine your child going to the street and then being bullied. When they get bullied, who do they run to? Where should your child run to when you dismantle that unit? We must accept that the relationship is over, but we must be there to actually parent this child. The child must actually be able to feel the positive family experience, regardless of whether the parents are staying together or not. A child must be allowed to say, oh, I'm happy this weekend, I'm going to see daddy, at our home, wherever. And next week, I'm sleeping in this bedroom at my mommy's house. Give them those positive experiences, then allow them to make their decisions when they grow up. Don't bring them in the adult issues. They are not old enough to actually handle such pressures and everything, and those are the mistakes that we as parents do. And we forget that the children never asked to be born.
Of course,
the people who made the decision to make the child were the both of you. Now remember that a child is a lifetime commitment. Yes, the Office of the Family Advocate is there to assist. Yes, we are there to assist. We will definitely conduct the investigation and everything, and provide the court with a recommendation that is in the best interest of the child. But then the enforcement and the parenting rests with you. The government or the family advocate cannot parent your child.
Most definitely. And I remember myself thinking the other time back in 2012, 2013, I was like, there's no government that's going to take care of my child. If they ever come here, I'm going to ask them, did I decide with you to make a child?
True that.
And why would you want to come here and side with a mommy and not with me? Because there are those trends where
True.
things happen where there will be like automatic siding with other people. But anyway, 0800 142 446, 0800 142 446. Tonight we are about to raise awareness on various services offered by the Office of the Family Advocate. We are here to raise awareness about co-parenting and parental plans. We are here to educate on the role of the OFA, which is Office of the Family Advocate, and the Central Authority of South Africa, and we are highlighting also their successes. But we are not going to play it political, because once Kenalo's Josephine here, we are actually linking the true life experiences to this office, and hence, thank you so much for that, Josephine, to actually give us a history of how this office got to be. And wena ole moteleji o ka re letsetsa go 0800 142 446. Ke na le Denny, Lennox call it Legoa, but nna ka re ke Lekwa FM. Hello Denny.
Khotso mbana le solwe le phele le kae?
Awa re phetse morena ka re ka utlwa
Ka
wena.
nnete ke iphiletse mme le sune dumela bana ka mo bana be se ke tsogedi taba tsena. Ke na le motswalle Freestata mane o na le ngwana ya le moditlha ka tla solo moditlhano. Ngwana o kena creche o ile a etala le mosesiti ngwana o kile ka siwa ka tumme wa haya tsamaile ile jwa le mapone sa malata mo a go tsetela. So ke ne ke batla o tsidisitse hantle gore magistrate go fitlhella go kae gore maponesa ona le ba kenang ha ba thola gore ngwana o setse ka tlung a kwalletse kwa tlung ka mo ha ona cases tsa ibulo bana ba itse case ya di social worker, then ya fella moyeng case ya teng social worker sa phone no morao tsena dise a ba re go maponesa no, it's because of la thola posting ke ka hona cases sa gona ra tswela ka pele ka no banyana o itse la tlake. And then hape ke batla mo itse ba gore ntate ke ne ma gonang gore instant nyewe nye tshwana le yona na gore na o thola gore mme ha a hlokomele ngwana go lekaneng. Ke na le tukelo ya gore nka thola ngwana ke o metšha e fenye ke latela gore ke latele gore ke tsotsa ke thola ngwana a be go nna jalo ka ntate tsemane.
Ke yona fela abuti ten?
Ke nana so far ke yona fela bana beso.
Okay morena ka o tla re phetsa hape ha bana o na le engwe akere.
Ke le video.
Ke le builabo haholo. Cause just
About Denny, about Msoto, the beauty of the Office of the Family Advocate is that it is, it is so unique, and what sets it apart is that it is a multidisciplinary component consisting of the family counselors and the family advocates. family counselors are forensic social workers who actually conduct investigation, forensic based, like evidence based. And then whereas family advocates are there to actually advise the court and provide the court with the recommendations. Now, going to the questions, the 5-year-old who was left behind by the mother and the extent of the role of the police. I can imagine, the police actually going to check on that child. How traumatic that is.
Sure.
And I can understand why it was actually deferred to the social workers, because they are the ones who can actually conduct the investigation and look at, assess the impact of all this trauma and all that. But what the beauty of this is that the Children's Act provides that any person having an interest in the care and the upbringing of the child can approach the children's court and say that, this is a child who may possibly be in need of care and protection because they are being neglected by one of the parents. So anyone it can be the next door neighbors, it can be one of the family members, it can be the father. They can approach the children's court, and then this child, and then the children's court will issue a court order either to the family advocate or to the social worker from the Department of Social Development to go and conduct an investigation as to the extent of the neglect and to the extent that this child needs protection in this regard, and the child will then be assisted. So I would advise that this matter rather be referred to the Children's Court because it was created specifically to cater for this kind of issues. Now, with the issue of the father, it's so beautiful that our family law has evolved. It has evolved to an extent that children are no longer the subjects of parental authority. They are basically the bearers of rights. And children have the right to be taken care by both parents, to have contact with both parents, for both parents to act as their guardians, meaning that you are responsible for every decision making in the life of the child, and to also contribute to the maintenance of the child. So any parent here, and the father, by virtue of that, then will then have to also approach the Office of the Family Advocate, especially if the father is not married to the mother, because there are certain legal technicalities that needs to be looked at. For instance, a father who has not married the mother of the child does not automatically acquire parental responsibilities and rights, and we have to do a determination and check as to whether they comply with the following requirements. Number one, if they had stayed with the mother in a lifetime partnership after the birth of the child. Secondly, if they have paid the customary damages. And then thirdly, if they have contributed in good faith to the maintenance of the child. Now, if a father has not married the mother but complies with those requirements, then they have the parental responsibilities and rights. And now we must look at the issue of exercising them. Then that then gives them the locus standi to basically approach the court and say, my child is suffering. I'm a parent, I'm raising my hand, and I want to exercise the parental responsibilities and rights in this fashion. I want to stay with the child. Then the step that needs to be taken is to approach the court, complete the forms, and the court will issue the necessary court orders for an investigation to take place. Because you cannot just call it from the air and say, I want to stay with my child. An investigation has to be conducted, and we have to take into consideration the age, the needs of the child and the developmental stages of the child. Because remember, I've picked up also that parents like using children as pawns. They can make up stories and say, this child wants to stay with me, or the child is being neglected. And the court, as the upper guardian, will always have the final say in respect of such issues.
The punitive measures we talked about earlier before we got onto the program, I think we will need to discuss that to say, to get Olos Josephine, all those kind of attitudes where we want to fix each other, and fixing each other meaning punitive measures. From the male side of things, it's like, from their side, it's like, hit him where it hurts most.
Correct.
Because all they think of is, you don't care about the child as long as you just keep on giving
damaging
money,
the other person, and
you're
all
fine.
that,
But what about the presence of the parents? Because at the end of the day, I would add to you to say, maybe we need a balanced, a child has a right to balanced life. But anyway, it's not for me to say. It's just the presenter in me actually taking advantage of.
But you know what, my brother, I think the other issue that we need to look at is that as society, we don't take responsibility. We do not take responsibility. And what we're seeing now is actually what perpetuates these things further. The people who are doing this are children who are now adults who were hurt because parents walked out on them. Parents divorced them when they divorced their other parent, and now they are continuing because there's a saying that says, what you do to the children now, they will do to the other people.
I'm going to say 5 years.
They will do that to the other people.
And then all of a sudden you see Utataku in the picture.
Exactly. They do not know a positive point of reference. And where did they learn it? So they will continue perpetuating it. Then now we are creating a generational cycle which is toxic, because I did not have positive like fatherhood or parenting in my life. Then where do I know it?
I'm going to ask you something later on after I take the two callers to say, where does GBV falls in? Because it is a result. Exactly.
Yes, I love that.
All right. Franz, go tswa ga Matlala. Thobela.
Morena le kae papa?
Re tswile le ka more.
Ke bile le nne ka ba le bana le yena ba bararo a robala. Ausi wa hae ne a se a nyalo ba tla ba tlo kopa hore a tle ba tlo ntshalela le bana a ba tlhokomele bana gore ke tlhatswa dirope ka stage.
Ke go kwela more.
Right. Jale ha ntse o ya ko pele wa ba bo sa tlhanyana ka mo saiteng ya ka gore mebereko ya ska tsa mabotse. Nola a be a boela habo a re wena nyala ena ra kwana ka bonyana. Right. Ile ra re mo le ka bontshe tsa bonyane wa ba bo imanyana. Se ba idumela botsinyana. So problem e latelang ke bana ba he ba tsontle re ba tse ba tompona ba wa buile. Ile ka le ka ba rekela di phone ba kopana na mo phone ba tsontle ba tsentse sim card yela. Holo itse ke reka phone ba bankela. Jalo o ba buima hore nna ke ba bone o ba tle ba mpona. Jale o etsa la jang o le jale itse ra o le ntate o thoma ka re wa ema jalo ka re wena jalo wa ba thorisa jalo.
Ya gone ka nnete. O re o tswa ga Matlala ke re Morena Franz?
Morena.
Yes, ke batla o sa dropa pele I was just finna ba tlo cho something.
And Tata Franz, ke kopa clarification bana ba benong ba dula le bokoko.
Me o ke bene ke dula le yena ke yena dilo wa influencer me o ne ke dula le yena o bankile o wetse o dila ba boela back kwa bona.
Bana le ka kang ba dula le koko.
Man, since 2005.
Okay papa. Theletsa mo se le mo yentate.
Ene ke kopa hape hore na ha ke le go Gauteng station se nka tsheletsang ke se fika sometimes ke rata station se mara ke le Gauteng ke na lo ba le problem ya o kena.
Okay, abuti Karabo wa tla o sa tla mfa gore mo Gauteng o tlile go tshwara bjang, and thank you so very much. Ga Matlala ke a tseba gore o reditse moletsi ya kere.
Ke reditse moletsi ke yona radio ya ka ke yona number 1.
Aha, mo Gauteng o dula kae Gauteng abuti?
Ke sa ya Round the Belt.
Round the Belt. Yako?
Straight view side.
All right.
Towards Fort Flores.
Mo gona o na le Theta FM, o na le Rainbow FM, as well as Val FM.
Okay, Theta, Rainbow,
and Val. Yes.
Thank you very much.
Re lebogile thata morena.
Ke a leboga papa.
Asiye kwa Nyamazane and Nelspruit khuluma no Zakhele. Hello Zaki.
Yebo sanibona njani?
Siyaphila njani butwa?
Siyaphila. Kokuqala ngithoza kubonga iprogram yinhle yasifundisa kahle kakhulu. So njengoba sikhuluma ngefamily.
Siyabonga.
Umbuto lengifisa ukwazi batali ababili labathanzanako labane bantwana. Kodwa munye ubuya ezweni langaphandle. Akanayo i-citizenship yala eSouth Africa. So bayathanzana baba nebantwana in the number of 5. So sekenteka uyashona lo baba bakashadi nabantwana bethe access ema ID ne-certificate. So le office la advocate bese libalekelela kanjani bantwana labanjani plus nalomtali.
All right. Is that all Abuti?
For all.
Is that all for now?
Uzakhele Kanyamazane community radio station konke ku right.
All right. Siyabonga Butsakhele. Thank you.
Okay, ke gobela o thoma ka taba ya Abuti Franz. Abuti Franz o be ana le bana mo lenyalong. Akere. And then into imudira e bontsha gore o na le the parental responsibilities and rights. And ge msadi wa Abuti Franz a tlhokofala.
Yeah.
Gora gore Abuti Franz kena a ba le teng ana le the parental responsibilities and rights. And a ke tseba gore na go tlile bjang gore bana ba tšwele Abuti Franz. Now ke lebella gape le gore bana ba sentse ba tsamaya ka 2005 gore ke about 13 years.
That's a lot.
Bana ba sepetse. And ge go assessiwa the best interests tša bana, things like this are taken into consideration. So gora gore ntate Franz ke tlo gopela gore a emelele a ye ko court a gopele gore court e mo thuse ka ntho e re bitsang gore ke parenting plan. Parenting plan a ke re ratse ba Tate Francis ka baka ba o banyetse mmago bana o na le ditokelo tsa gore a bonane le bana ba gage.
Just Salimo, is it the same as settlement?
No, it is not.
Okay.
A parenting plan, it is an agreement entered into between the holders of the parental responsibilities and rights as regards the exercise of such rights. A ke ra tseba gore ge se re tlhalana ba re gaogana ba re lwele dilo tse dingwe di ba boima ke a re gone gore dilo re gone go bolela mara parenting plan re tlo ngwana go ratsa ke nna ke nako go bona mara bana ba tla tlisha ke abuti mosotho ko kae ka nako ya gore ba tlo go mpona ke yona parenting plan ke mo re nna fa se re rena re palelane mara bana ba rena re tlo ba godisha ka mo go tswela pele. Now ke lebeletse nako e bana ba le re ba setse ba tsamaile ka yona Ntate Francis ka gopela goreng a gone gore a tlhakane le bona ka mogala a batle ba mo etela lo go mo etela, but only the court can actually facilitate that through the office of the family advocate. So Tate Francis a emelele a ye go court ba ntshe court order go dirwe investigation gore go tle gone gore re tsosoloshe segwera se magare ga gagwe le bana santse se tsosoloshe ka baka la gore 13 years is a very long time.
Thank you so very much. And then Zaki?
Zakele o bolela gore there are two parties who dated and then ended up having 2 children, and then one of the parents, who's the father, never had citizenship, and then he ultimately passed away. Ke bothata bo bogolo ka baka la gore Department of Affairs ina le di requirements tsa bona gore ba gone go fa ngwana dipampiri tsa ngwana bana ba be documented. Nna nka mo advise gore a ke golaganye le bona ba gone go mo tsebisa rena ke tse di fitse o dinyaka tse le santse gore ba di khotsofatse pele gage ba ka tla ba thusa bana ba ka baka la re we can't deny bana di pampiri because of otherwise we are rendering them stateless. Ba santse ene o le tsebo birth certificate these days ke se bula menyako ngwana gore a ye sekolong a ye go clinicing a kry access to health care and all those things go nyaka ka birth certificate. So go tonyaka gore a ye golaganya le batho ba go Home Affairs ba gone gore ba mo tlhalosetse ka baka la gore family advocate mo a ina rule as such gore e ka ba thusa ke nako gore ke mmotse maka a ona rule such gore e ka ba thusa ka baka rena re lebeletse fela bana ba ile goreng ba tshwenya ke dikgotlagano tsa batswadi.
Thank you so very much for that, Josephine. And a comment from Facebook where you can also get us, you can just go under the Department of Justice and Constitutional Development. Otherwise, we are on Twitter at DOJ_ZA. Uri, we hear a child has a constitutional right, put in inverted commas. We hear a child has a constitutional right to parental care, but parents do not have a constitutional right to care for their children, whatever that means. Whatever that means, is this true in the eyes of the law? And secondly, what can one do as a father who is allowed by the courts, not by the families, to see his children for 4 days a month? Yes. I think it's one Alia Francie, but it's a bit different in terms of he's playing with English words. The right to be cared for, but the right to care is not there.
It is there.
That's what he says.
Section 28 of the Constitution is very, very, very clear. You know, the issue about children is that children have all the other rights in the Constitution. Those rights they have.
Yes.
Then there is a specific chapter that deals with the children, which is Section 28.
That's right.
Where it outlines all the basic rights. They are entrenched. Then when you drill down, you have Section 28(2) of the Constitution that says the best interests of the child are of paramount importance in every matter concerning the child.
Yes.
Meaning that all else backseat. Now, yes, now, the Children's Act, the overarching legislation where it actually operationalizes this rights of the children.
Yes.
And when you look at Section 18 of the Children's Act, children have the following rights: to be cared for by both parents, to have contact, for the parents to be the guardians, and for the parents to contribute to the maintenance. And then it says parents have a corresponding responsibility. Yes, because remember, these children, by virtue of their age of minority, they can't exercise the rights. Somebody must exercise and enforce them for them. And whose responsibility is it? it is the parents. That is how maintenance. It's because it's your responsibility. So it does not have to be explicit in the legislation. But that is why when you look at the act, it doesn't say parental rights and responsibilities. It says parental responsibilities and rights. You first have a responsibility before you can start claiming the child.
0800-142-446 0800-142-446. Boloi ba pelo bo bontsi. That's all I can tell you. It's quite a lot of things on paper, but inhliziyo zabantu, they are full of ubuthakathi. Bokuthi ngizokulaya.
But you know what?
But how do you enforce? It's another thing.
But I love the courts. The courts are stepping up. I love the attitude regarding that. They are issuing those court orders. And people must be very careful. You know, once a court order is issued, you are risking jail term.
Mare, how long are we going to play a scarecrow kind of approach where you have to be afraid of jail for you to take responsibility? For me, that's one thing of the roles of the office of the advocate, where I'm going to say the educational part of it. How far are you with it? More than just guiding and providing options to liar mode. I'm not sure if I'm making sense.
No,
but,
you are.
Yeah. Anyway, let's take David from Zebediela. Dave?
Tobe.
Le kamre?
Awa kerna ba raole.
Hantla go.
Tobe. Nga do ke khopela o dimesha le tsesi ka mo wa tswa po gana mo polokwane mo.
Thobela papa.
Awa ke nna ke rata go tseba ka taba e latelang so. Ke na le ngwana le ausu ke dula le yena pele banong ile go ba le mathatanyana mola le mola a go re kgaogane ka go ntirela mathaitha ya dile so nabile mme wa ngwana o gana ke bona ngwana ene batswadi ba gage mare bona ba dumela gore nna ke bone ngwana so yena a dumele gore nna ke bone ngwana then ke direle ngwana tsena ke nyaka go montirela tsone ene nna nka se gone gore ke direle ngwana dilo ke sa mmone ke sa gone go mmona re na ga botse ya ka ba para size mang a isha eng a robala go eng so yena o re nna se ka bona ngwana total at all mara batswadi ba gagwe bona ba dumetse gore nna ke bone ngwana then ke mdirele sene ke mdirelang sone so namile a ke se gore na gana mo swentse ke direng ka baka la re ile ka ba ka tša tabe ka isha go social worker tša gona ga sanka da ntwela mogola so namile nna ga jwale namile ke mola gore ke a tshwenyega ka baka la gore a ke kgone go robala ka baka la gore a ke kgone go bona ngwana o e leng waka o e leng madi yaka then ebile a ke kgone go mo direla selo ka baka la gore mma ngwana ga a nyake kgauswi le yena kgauswi le ngwanong so a ke se bona ge ke ya go mmona mo a tsenang sekolo gona then nambile ke mo fa tšheletenyana ke re no nkore ke no fa ngwana ka tlise le yena kgone go rekanyana sa se rekang then ge ngwana a fitlha kwa ga mohlomong wa ba tlhalosetsa gore papa o mphile tšhelete then nambile mma ngwana wa founa wa nroga morago so a kgone tswana nambile tshwentse ke direng ngwana moo.
All right, listen, go radio Abuti, and then Josephine will get back to you, right?
Okay.
Sibonelo, wasendwele.
Ya Kolesha.
Siyaphila kunjani bhuti?
Ngithikele basenzela bona ngemikela basenzela bona uDadewethu lo umama lo nikhuluma lapho. Imkhankane ngibonga ukuthi lo mnandi kangaka la SIS. Bengicela ukubuza nje kukhona umbuzo enginakade ngizongiphendula yini. Ngicela ukubuza ukuthi ukhona nomehluko phakathi kwesarogisi ne-adoption ngoba ngeke umuntu uthola umntwana ngohlelo lwe-surrogate asemnye uthola umntwana ngohlelo lwe-adoption kanti kunomehluko lokho phakathi nezinto zombili.
Hey, but Sibonela, that's a very pertinent question indeed.
Yeah, i-surrogate ne-adoption kufuna ukuthi umehluko ukhona phakathi zombili. Ngiyabonga lalisiyathuka la ne-7.6
Siyabonga kusathuthuka and as well as Butsbonelo. Hey, a very one that we never ever thought of. We never thought of that. Thank you so very much, Sibonelo. And I would like to, I'm very interested in how you link that one to the office of the family advocate, the surrogate one. But anyway, let's start with Brade.
Ntate David, ngwana asizuhle. Ngwana asi pay as you
Hey,
go.
lo solo go lo ditshego le itshwarele.
Ngwana se pay as you go. Wa bona le ge mma a ka go ganetša go bona ngwana, do your best. Nna ke phela ke botsa batho ke reng a re kgothatsaneng ka gore at the end of the day ngwana o tlo e feleletša a tseba nnete. Ntate David, build your own legacy ka go dira the best for your child, because remember, you are not responsible for the actions of the mother. I mentioned earlier on, hurt people. I remember now what happened in the mother's upbringing in Mudra or Abeso. No, but ha kwatela Ntate David. O tshwenya ke tša gage. Tše di leng ka mogare ga gage. Akere na mile o ntšhetša botlhoko bola yena a re o swina Ntate David, mara a tsebe gore o swina ngwana. Ntate David, do your own build-up session. Wena build up ngwana ga wa bona at the end of the day. And o ska dira ngwana e zua re, you know, nna nka se nyake gore ke mo support because of a ke mmone. Tswela pele. Akere mara sa bobedi ntho ke nyaka gore o itsebe Ntate David. Nyaka thušo. Bošetša ba rena ba maAfrika Borwa ke goreng re fela pelo.
Yes.
Rata gore the justice system ha e bereke bile ha e thuši ra kwata na bile o nyama moko na bile o boela morago. E ya court papa. A bona nna court order ke rata lo feta because of kena itlo dirang gore at the end of the day ngwana la go lo tlo montšha rena ngwanaka nna le ba botsa ba re nna bex na go go bona botlhatse ba ka ke bo.
Aga.
Ke ntho e diregileng. Ke lwela gore nna le wena re be le segwera. Ke lwetse gore nna le wena re phele ka lenaneo mara ke paletše but ngwana o tlo bona at the end of the day ngwana will be able to comprehend, you know what, my father does love me, my father does care for me, but the circumstances did not permit. Nna ke re ya court, that is the evidence ya batho
the background. Yeah, the background that we talked about to say we are living in the current situation where results of such things are actually manifesting themselves into our lives. You said South Africa is actually at a point break where things are running haywire.
They are, you know, 65% of children being raised by single parents. That is very scary. That is very, and I'm not, you know, kudos to those mothers who are raising the children.
I was born in the 70s, and probably I'm one of the few who were raised by a single parent. And I can even vouch for those who were born in the 60s, who were born in the 80s.
And I'm sure you can
who are
relate.
happening to be parents at this point in time.
And I'm sure you can relate.
Exactly. I'm not only talking about men only. I'm not talking about women only. I'm talking about we as the results of all those things that happen. It might not just be apartheid, but just an interrelation kind of thing.
You know what attracts the youth to social ills is lack of love, lack of affection, lack of trust, and lack of emotional stability. It makes them get out of the house and go and seek it elsewhere. And if like amola, bras banban auto reprove yourself. Yeah. Then what attracts a young girl to go ayo ratna le monna wa 55 years because of they are looking for a dad. They are looking for a daddy that they have not had throughout their lives. Those things are happening, and that's why I always say, the basis of gender-based violence, it starts from the house.
I was going to ask, where does the GBV comes in now?
You know what?
Sure.
GBV comes from the person who is busy beating a wife or who is killing a wife was once a toddler, then became a teenager, and then an adult. Where did they learn those things?
And how did they get to exist throughout that process?
It's because
for
of
them to get there.
Something went wrong in their upbringing. It did not happen because of they learned that in the school. Even if you can sit with psychos of no, but they have been in jail for a life, you know, for life simply because they killed people. When you trace back, they will tell you, because I'm angry because of angmazu baba. So that anger makes them go and commit such things.
But are we able to diagnose ourselves when it comes to such things? Because it's more of mental and emotional and spiritual kind of thing.
But it's that, you know, I always say a home or a family is a factory. All your default settings, all that you are today is a reflection of how you were brought up. For instance, if you go ahead, that's how you are going to be. Because when I resolve
default setting. I get a phone here tomorrow.
wa itima nambile or reset. We wish that back to the factory setting so that we control. So the family, the homes, that's where harreke abuti mosotho aliso ke reflection ya rona o ja go ka o hodisitse ke mang ba o hodisitse jwang.
It reminds me of this advert that I normally see. Meole, when she speaks about her child, she says, in 2000 and something, I decided to start a company. And they're holding a child like that. But anyway, that's for another time.
Can I take Sibonelo, the difference
Oh,
between
yeah.
surrogacy
Sorry,
and
I was
adoption?
about to take 2 callers, but anyway, sorry about that. Go for Sponelo's response.
Surrogacy in alemela applies or regulate it. Ne?
Yes, ma'am.
And we living in in advanced periods where in a person can decide to be pregnant but then ask us for
Yes.
somebody else but that needs to be it plays out in the courts as well because of in subject to the agreement and then the court order regulations serious about it.
Yes.
Whereas adoption is different in this sense. Adoption is different in the sense with adoption you adopt a child and that child becomes your child as though so with surrogacy you may still have to also do an adoption because remember the biological child of mutho and then once then the actual adoption but with adoption it's sort of a once off process, whereas with surrogacy iba the surrogate parent and then also check na o link wa byang ka madi ke ngwana papa o na le tja dilo ke tjoba ke tja mme papa maybe ha gona or ke a donor or whatever, so the difference yona more. And then ka adoption it terminates the legal responsibilities and rights are the biological parents.
Okay.
Yeah, determinate. With surrogacy, then you'll have to then follow another steps to also legalize that as well.
All right. So you have to go through a procedure of legalizing this thing,
Yes.
either by just applying for adoption.
Yes.
And
it must also play out in the courts as well. And remember gore go nna le ngwana fela wa gore ke godisha ngwana se seaka wa ke godisha ngwana wa mosadi o ke nnang le ena a se adoption. You must have a court order e confirming gore you did adopt this person.
Josephina has been emphasizing this court order thing, and you should see even her gesture, how she holds that imaginary paper in her fingers. You know, like when you have the power of legality, that's that gesture that you make.
You know what? And I always say to people that we need to get over ourselves. You know, you look at Mosotho umpile ngwana ka 1980 ngwana ka ke doctor, but I'm still angry at Mosotho. Why can't you say but like aba janja man umpile doctor man and then be happy about it?
Yes, like.
You know, we must get over ourselves.
I wish people had that kind of positive attitude, but anyway, Barepelo. Ke tla go bolela ka Setswana gore ke bua le Mike from Pietermaritzburg. Mike.
Sabona msakazi ngibengele kuwena nesihambeli sakho mina ngilalele kumgqindo 107.6.
Sawona brother.
Sawona Mike.
Yebo sis, hey, yesihloko lesi siyangithinta kakhulu. Uyazi ukuthi nami nginenkinga efanayo. I have a child nomunye umuntu and siyahlukana, but I don't have a right to see my child. Akangivumeli ukuthi ngimbone. Even if I bring some money to support.
How old is the child, bro, Mike?
Now she's 16 now.
She's how much? 16?
Yes.
Yeah. Okay,
and even if I bring money to support the child, she doesn't take the money. And ngicela ukubuza ukuthi i-office lika-legitimate advocate lingangisiza kanjani because likhona la eMaritzburg ngidlule ngilibone noma ngihamba edolobheni ngithi kaze ngingasizakala kanjani ngicela nje ukuchazele ukuthi yiziphi inyathelo engingasithatha ukuthi to get the right to see my child because I have that space. I miss her to see to ukuthi nje angibithe to say daddy.
Yeah.
Ngicela ngizolalela emsakazweni uNkulunkulu FM. Ngiyabonga kakhulu.
Siyabonga bro Mike. All right, let's take from Soshanguve Butsani boy. Butsani boy. Two. I was just saying.
Hey, can I first address mothers who have interpersonal issues?
I'm glad you are here. I'll address the boys. Oh, the guys. Or the men.
Mothers, you must know that you are responsible for manufacturing the biggest criminals and emotionally unwell children. Just by refusing the father of the child to be involved in your child's life, remember that and you know what is said is that the very same children, tomorrow they're going to turn around and hate you for having denied them that particular experience.
For barring them
You
from...
are doing yourself in big time. Tomorrow they will ask you one question, who's my dad? And you won't answer them. They will leave you for the rest of their lives. You will lose them twice because you are busy losing them. To them, you are this person who is irresponsible, who did not take the responsibility, who could not even maintain a relationship. Remember, the children, they've got access to Google and everything. They read.
And as
they
they
learn
grow,
this
they
thing,
understand.
they comprehend them. Tomorrow, they will look at you. And, that's where then we start getting, children, when they grow up, they start questioning the authority of women. They start undermining women because they're thinking that, women are stupid because they could not, make decisions and all those kind of things. We get in these things because of this particular upbringing. Our sisters, please, ngiyacela, do not rob children of this positive family experience. Firstly, this child did not ask to be born of you. You are the one who made a decision to go and sleep with Umusoto at the end of the day. And I'm not saying this to anyone. I'm just saying that you are the one who made a decision to go and sleep with Ubuti Brian. The child was not there. Take responsibility of the consequences of your actions. And secondly, I think we must arrive at a point where in South Africa we start talking about responsible reproduction.
Yes.
The people who are doing this, and I don't care who's going to say what, the people who are doing this are the people who actually made these children for certain reasons. They had certain expectations which were not met. And now they are angry that their expectations were not met. Let's start talking about responsible reproduction, where we say people must make children for themselves. Don't make children because you want to validate or retain a relationship. Because when that relationship does not materialize, then you start getting angry, you start punishing the child. The child has got nothing to do with that. Give this, allow this person to be in the child's life. And you know what, I remember there was someone who once said to me that, what if these people are criminals and all that? And I said, you know what, one thing for sure is that every parent loves the child in the same manner that you love the child. But when you don't love the child, because of you are busy hating them. When the children go to school, they meet with other children who talk positively about both their parents. And your child keeps on being sidelined. That is why their academic, record and everything and performance starts dropping simply because they are unwell. Our sisters, get over yourselves. Get over yourself. This thing has got nothing to do with your child.
Thank you so much.
And Buti, go to the family advocate, PMB, Bazok Caesar. They can assist you either in terms of Section 21 of the Children's Act, wherein as an unmarried father, you can complete the forms. They will call the both of you and Umama into the office, and then they'll start conducting a mediation to actually assisting you with a view to have a parenting plan at a later stage so that you can start seeing your child. Your child is an innocent person in this case. Yeah. Very innocent.
The flip side of things is that many a times for a lady to sleep with a guy, and to a point where the lady ends up feeling foolish or stupid, and then it translates into hate for this kid. So I'm actually dwelling on your point of saying, as much as the ladies might be angry about the
whatever
father,
happened in their relationship,
we must know the source of this thing. The lady might not have approached the guy. The guy approached the lady and saying, "Ke mabele ke a tshologa, ge ke ratang ka go rekela terena le sporo sa yona."
Exactly.
Nga go rekela aeroplane le traffic officer ya
Yes.
ke. You understand?
And the ladies have a duty to conduct a due diligence. Don't take things at a face value and then come and blame other people.
Yes.
Don't go and confirm whether this person has that money to go and buy sporo le train ya hona. Go and do that. And what happened to and these are the things that we are doing. The minute you meet someone, we are already thinking sex.
But the reality is
We
that
think in
we are
sex.
in love with six packs, we are in love with how it
Exactly.
looks and all that
Exactly.
stuff, and then all of a sudden
Everything
you
goes
got
south.
Sino Nori with a six pack.
Exactly.
So
Do
all I'm saying
due
is that
diligence.
Yeah, all I'm saying is be careful of what you're getting yourself into. Is that what you're saying?
What I'm saying is that do an R&D, research and develop yourself. we're living in times wherein it is no longer, like frowned upon, wherein you can ask a person their test results, their ITC records, and all those kind of things. Get to know what you're getting yourself into. Why are you not doing it?
It might be very easy, but it's true.
It's true. Because of who do you want to blame? You're the one who allowed yourself to go and jump into bed. Then why is the child now being drawn into this circus?
All right. Aus Virginia, go tswa ko Moleji. Le kae?
Ndiyanga sawona.
Ma?
Rona le.
Oh, re botsisa ke.
Ndikabudzisa mbudziso.
O ka botsa mme.
If uli mme kere. Una le protection order against the father, and the father is not doing anything like responsibility.
Rutleletse ma.
Responsibilities zawe za uthogomela ngwana. After that, can a father be granted visitation rights?
Yeah. Ke potso entle yotlhe aus Virginia. Actually, I was waiting for you to speak Sepedi, but o ntshoganyeditse ka Tshivenda man. Okay. Dikori bua tire.
But I still have another one.
Okay, you can go on ma.
So if you are a mother and you are given a custody of a child, but then so are you gonna be responsible yare o patele di fee tsa papa ngwana or o tshwantse ena papa ngwana go no patela di fee tsona tseo?
Hey bye. Yeah, okay. Let's get us Josephine waraba putso ya hawa kere mere kori bua ngamana kere.
Ndi wali bo.
Zwabuti. Hey, let me like let's krempe just for a while right there, and I was just feeling I was about to vendor, but hey, my tongue just got cramps. But anyway, it's all good. Aritse Kuli from Uppington. Malme karabo wantse gale go sia. Hello Kuli.
Hi, good evening, Mr. Good evening to you.
Hoe gaan Kuli?
Dit gaan baie goed, dankie.
Dit gaan baie goed man, dankie.
Daar sê is baie goed om te hoor, is net baie warm in Appington.
Is baie van 42 vandag, nee?
Is verskriklik warm.
Yes, like.
Listen, Mr. Before I can give my question, I'd like to commend you guys for an incredible program. I would like to say it's really beautiful.
Thank you so much.
Especially for us who young parents, a lot of young people out there who I think and would like to believe they do not understand the significance and the importance of the parental role to their children. So thank you so very much. My question then this evening would be, Mr. Chu, in an instance where there are two parents, but they are both not involved in their children's lives. The young parents out there, and now it is the grandparent who is raising the children or responsible for the children. Is there any law or from the side of the Office of the Advocate or any program or thing that can be done with regards to that?
Is that all, Kuli?
That would be all from my side.
All right. Thank you so very much. And keep cool in Uppington, right?
Say goodbye.
Say bye, donkey.
Can I start with the 1 year Oskuli?
Please.
Oskuli, there is the law. Section 22 of the Children's Act provides for parental responsibilities and rights agreement. I remember I actually worked on this journey with the other two grandparents who are taking care of their grandchildren. I said to them, you need to be secured in terms of the law. What they can do is that the parents of the children can actually confer parental responsibility and rights to them. They can give them to say, have care, have contact or whatever. Or alternatively, they can approach the children's court, and it's for free, and then ask the court to confer those rights to them so that they can raise these children without any complications. They can put them on medical aid, they can pay their school fees, and they can do that. So Section 22 and 24 of the Children's Act provides for such mechanisms. So there is a law. They must just go and enforce such rights. And it's good that once they go to the court will send out the the social workers or even the family advocate to come and assess and confirm such kind of an arrangement, then it can then give give rise to a report which can be submitted to the court, and then they will be assisted accordingly. So the court does take that into consideration. And then Virginia from Muleji. How's Virginia? A protection order is an order of the court. And in most cases, I've seen these protection orders being used to actually chuck Papa away from the child. Yeah. Because the protection order will say, do not come within 500 meters of the mother. And you find that the mother is actually the primary caregiver of the child. Then what do we do? Such situations are very, very unfortunate. And in that case, I would suggest that a parenting plan be entered into so that a family member can facilitate this contact between the child and the father without Wena being the the bearer of that protection order being involved in the situation. So please let us not use other legal mechanisms to technically alienate the other parent from the child. No, that we should not do. Just to make sure that at least we safeguard the other parents so that they don't get arrested because of they'll be seen as contravening that. But the court order may be saying don't come close to them. So please appoint a family member that will facilitate the contact so that the father still continues to see the child. Rather, the child still continues to exercise that relationship with the father. Number 2, regarding the fees, I understood that to say maybe traveling fees or whatever it is. I would say, parents, please agree. Sit down and design a contact mechanism to say, if wana I load you like papa for this weekend, uta pick you up your kai and then wana atamai. But I've seen also parents, because, and like I said before, people were raised in a very difficult manner or weird way that because of their head and they're broken, they're taking it out on the other people. The other people say to you, for this child to come to me, I don't want my child to get into a bus, I want them to get into an aeroplane and all those kind of things. So expenses should be for the parent who is actually coming to pick up the child. Really, why do you want to abdicate that responsibility to the other parent? And and such things make children feel like they are being rejected. Because now they'll understand that, I won't be able to go and see Tata because of that I cannot afford to actually come and pick me up.
Hit them where it hits most.
Really. Let us stop being childish. And in this way, parents are actually reversing the roles. Children are actually becoming the parents, and the parents are becoming children. Really, South Africa, let's grow up.
Yeah. I'm actually laughing at the comment by Sunny Boy here. While you're answering others, just put it in there. Because I think it's quite very easy. We've been talking about this thing. And you cannot help but laugh at this comment, right?
Yes.
Let's just tell the listeners, Hore. Sunny Boy is asking, Hore, what determines being a father? And is it biology or is it the courts? There
is a rebuttable presumption. The minute I pointed to Papa Wanaka ke Mosotho. It is presumed to Papa Wanaki Mosotho. Until such time that the contrary is proved through those DNA mechanisms.
I like the way you put it.
Tests, really. There is that rebuttable presumption at common law. Once go super kusupit.
But anyway, let's get to Sunny Boy is the one actually. I thought maybe there's still an hour. Is there something else that you might want to add as we are wrapping up?
Yes.
Especially more of a positive message in terms of, you see, all these questions that have been asked, they are actually questioning the role that the Family Advocate Office plays, Josephine. And putting it into context, for instance, Mike, he's saying he's been passing there by the office of the Family Advocate in Pietermaritzburg. But you know how intimidating a legal office can be. Irrespective of what kind it is.
They're thinking I'm going to get interrogated.
And I might not get in there and they say, where's your appointment?
Exactly. You know what? Our offices adopt an open door policy. Come one, come all.
Yes.
Before 2005, you could only access our office through court orders. You can get in, at any time. We have people who actually manage the help desks that will actually speak to you and assist you, and then even give you the form, even assist you to even complete the forms.
What kind of people do you find there?
You find the family advocates. You find the family counselors, you find the family law assistants. All those people that they are qualified to deal with this with these issues, all of them equally qualified. Number two, the family advocate assists the very same parents who are having a conflict to actually sit down and have a conversation about what is best for their children. That's what we are. We are not there to actually vilify you or demonize you. We want to help you towards, getting to parent your child. And the message that I want to give to the parents is that you made the decision to make a child. Now, see to it that you see this thing to finish. Walk with this child up until adulthood. That decision was made by yourself. Take responsibility for your own for your own decision. Do you know why people don't heal in life? It's because they refuse to take responsibility. People always look for someone else to blame. Yeah, it's Musot because he uzamaile ayojola and all those kind of things and all that. No, and then what was your role in when it comes to the breaking down of the relationship? Clearly, there's something that you did. Accept that. Yes, it was good when it lasted. Times have now changed. I have to move on. And people don't even know when you are, like buckled down with these things and then and everything, you actually become ugly. You are no longer attractive.
Sure.
Wabora and all those kind of things. Yeah. It is your responsibility. And a child is a lifetime responsibility. Ngwana asin talk like this.
As a company,
and I say, up until either at Lokofala or either self-sufficient or self-supportive.
So I want to give VBS. As Josephine, she's a senior legal admin officer with the Office of the Family Advocate. Tata Lekamuso and Outleng Yona Letebe Akwe. Thank you so very much.
Thank you.
From me, Musoto Stone, Island.